There's been about 150 or so Mexican journalists killed in the last few years,
Few years.
Few years.
5 years?
I think it's been 5, might have been 6 or something.
That's
okay.
That's got to be one of the worst in the world, isn't it?
Okay, so every year between like Mexico and Syria, Mexico is always a close number 2, or Mexico and wherever. Some years Mexico's number 1 of the most journalists killed in the world. So this is where what we do and what you're doing right now is so important, because every news outlet has a link, right? In Mexico has a link. And I think about this. A link is the person everyone knows is kind of like the Communist Party minder. So they run things by, and the link says, well, you better cover it this way, or you better not cover that violence, or you better not mention this, or you better not write that story about the mayor taking money from narcos. Get it? And so the journalists fall in line, because if they don't,
they're dead.
They're dead. So what we do is we go and we build relationships with journalists, and we say, listen, we know that you work here. We know that you can't write these things. But if you want to write these things under a pseudonym and you want to give them to us, we'll publish them in English and Spanish for the entire Western world to see. And that's what journalists do. That's why we're so successful at it.
What's the readership like?
Well,
tell me Mexico. Is that spread in Mexico?
It does, but okay. So, and you can this stuff just from analytics.
Yeah.
People don't share our articles in Mexico on social media.
I bet not.
But they do share it via DM. They text it they WhatsApp it to each other, right? They send it that way. They don't share openly on social media generally.
That should tell you everything you need to know.
It absolutely does.
This is so enraging, because you hear this, and we've made such a big deal out of the Venezuela gangs, which are horrible, horrendous. Right. But we don't talk about, and everybody knows that these gangs in Mexico are just as bad. These people, in my opinion, and love to hear your thought, if we're not literally, if we're not doing business with them, we're at least turning a major blind eye over the last 5 years. I personally, to me, it's almost as if we're like, hey, we're going to help your business. I mean, it is the way we have reacted over the last 4 years under Biden has got to have empowered these people and enriched them like nobody's business. And it was us, the government, that did it. Disagree?
I agree. This is where we get into, there are some things, parts of solutions that the few on the left who care about this and focus on it.
Yeah.
There are some parts of their solutions I agree with.
Like what?
I agree that ultimately what does away with this type of violence and crime is opportunity. I agree with that.
I agree. But you can't. Can't have opportunity.
Right.
They don't have clean water. I wonder why.
The problem is where we disagree is how to get there.
Yes.
How to get to that place, right? Because it is opportunity. I understand some of our best sources through the years have been young guys who at one point in time were cartel guys. They weren't leadership, but they were, they had a radio and they would help guide loads or do whatever. And they explained it to me, and they're like, well, what else would I do? Like imagine you live outside of Juarez, like in Anapra, right? Rancho Anapra, just on the other side of the U.S.-Mexico border. You can actually see it from this little place called Sunland Village in New Mexico, just outside of El Paso. And for years, there was this chain link fence right there, and that was the border. And you could look across, and you'd see these little shanties, and you'd see kids with no shoes, and it was just it was a bit horrifying. And I would always stop and talk to these kids, right? But I think about this. So you live there. You really don't have access to a lot of formal education, right? Your mother probably washes people's laundry by hand, right? You have a couple of sisters. There's men who are disrespecting your sisters, and you're pretty sure they're going to wrap them up into something bad. You can't do anything. And then someone comes to you and goes, hey, all you have to do is like have this radio for me. I'll give you a gun. I'll pay you, $500 a week, $500 US a week. And no one will, try to sexually assault your sister. Your mother won't have to wash people's underwear anymore, and your family will be treated with respect. If you're a young man, what do you do? And that's literally the only option you have. What do you do?
Most likely, you take that.
At a young age, I might have.
I might have too.
Yeah. And you take that.